All right, so welcome back in, guys. We are going to dive into where the market stands today. A lot is happening. We're recording this here in Vegas at the XRP Vegas event. And of course, joining me is Mr. Evan Aldo.
Great to be with you here. It's
Oh,
exciting,
yeah, here
man.
we are in person. We're hanging out with all these great people. And what an amazing show. We got Brad Garlinghouse, David Schwartz on stage just now.
Yep.
Amazing in general. But at the same time, we've got the Fed chair changeover occurring.
Yep.
So you look at this right here, you've got the Fed chair, near-term U.S. inflation. This is what the new Fed is going to be facing. So near-term U.S. inflation expectations now have risen. You
Yep.
also have the situation of the PCE inflation going up 3 to 3.5%. You're also dealing with the Middle East situation. You've got clarity brewing, and then you've got the situation now brewing with what could be a job reduction around white collar. So these are the two factors that the Fed hits.
Yep.
Kevin Warsh, welcome aboard. What do you think about that?
I think, it aligns with, some people hate on this, but it aligns with the typical kind of sell and may go away, that kind of thing. But I don't think it's going to be that bad. I think we just need things to come down just a little bit. NASDAQ to come down maybe 5% or something. Bitcoin to maybe come back to the mid 60s. That's enough fear. That's enough to get these numbers down. And then hopefully we recover into quarter 3, quarter 4, and we see 1 or 2 rate cuts potentially.
Okay.
So I'm more optimistic, but I think we.
Do you think
Yeah.
Powell is going to ruin Trump's parade on rate cuts if he says, I'm staying around for a little bit longer, which takes away one of the governors that would be a Trump-loaded Fed? What do you think?
I don't know if it's enough. You have a very divided Fed right now. I think they will kind of adhere more towards rate cuts. Even Powell, I mean, that's just one vote. So I don't think it's going to be, one vote that's going to, maybe if it does, Trump's going to be very angry. But I don't think one vote's going to matter here.
Well, here's the thing right now. If you've got a left-leaning Fed or a right-leaning Fed and Trump gets his way with what's happening right now, which is continued price increase on the pump, you've got situations right now in the Middle East continuing to put the Fed really at bay, at least with Kevin Warsh going in. I think the real question is do you think we'll get a Fed rate cut when Warsh comes in?
Not right away. Definitely not right away. I think we need oil to come down. I think we're going to see some deflation, Paul. That's what I think we're going to see. I think we're going to see everything come down just a little bit, get a little bit of deflation, inflation going down. Then towards end of summer, let's say September into quarter 4, maybe just in time for midterms.
Okay.
August, September, October, you get 1 or 2 rate cuts, and you got potential to keep the Senate if you're Trump.
Okay, let's go to this right here, because you've got the Senate Banking Committee voted 13-11, advancing the nomination for Warsh.
Yeah.
This is in. That means it's out of the way. Next up is clarity. So we hope.
Yep.
So the likelihood of clarity pushing price right now on Bitcoin after a dipping 3 days here at the Bitcoin conference.
Yep.
What do you think is next here?
My guess.
Clarity goes through it. Let's go. Clarity goes through it.
Clarity, I think, I don't follow it that closely, but my view is that it would be very strategic. If I were Trump, if I were the Republicans, September, October, if we can get that just before midterms so people still remember when they're in the voting booth. If you pass it right now, people are going to forget.
That's
you
interesting.
Yeah.
But if it goes that late, though, Evan, don't you run the risk of losing that vote?
I mean, it could go either way.
They just don't get it to the floor.
Yeah, it could go either way. It's hard to say. I would remain optimistic. I think we need a few months, though. I think you're going to see things come down, and you're going to see more clarity on the Clarity Act towards the end of the summer. So.
All right, so you got Brent crude now breaking 120 a barrel. This is happening right now.
Yep.
All right, if you go to your chart on oil, and you look at this whipsaw that we've been playing back and forth.
Yep.
We'll talk about the Bitcoin price here in a second. We will get to the XRP price as well, of where it's playing out. We're going to cover ETH as well, but back to oil. Brent crude right now, 120 a barrel, first time since June of 2022. Yep. What does this do right now for risk assets?
When you look at oil, I think it's going to come down. You're hitting a major trend line, as you can see right here. This area back here.
You feel oil is coming down?
I think it will.
So it's going to bounce off this 120?
I think it's going to reject, yeah. I think it's going to reject from this general area that we're hitting right here. I think we're going to come down with everything else. I think your S&P 500 is going to come down a little bit. Your NASDAQ, Bitcoin, just a little bit. Oil comes down. Then that's enough of a reason to potentially get 1 or 2 rate cuts, later this summer.
But you know, you compare that and you look at this right here. Let me share my screen with you guys so you guys can see it. And that is right here. Here's the this is all happening right now, okay? The Brent crude at 120, 30-year yields at 5%.
Yep.
Then you're sitting on 10-year gilt yields at 5% and the yen at 160. All right.
Yeah,
Now,
it's, it's
this
scary.
looks a little dicey right now when you see these kinds of market numbers. Compare that to the Bitcoin chart, where Bitcoin is right now. Even though we're recording this at the XRP event, Bitcoin happened right before this. While the Bitcoin event was going on, Bitcoin was dropping. Here we are trading right now, literally as we record. Let's find out. We're at 76, so we're back up a little bit. Where do you think Bitcoin goes from here?
So when we look at our Bitcoin chart right now, you see these gapped RSIs here. That's a pretty bearish sign. Again, I don't think it's going to be that catastrophic. I think we're going to come down to 72K, and then eventually in the summer, maybe June, somewhere like that, 65K. That's the big thing there. Just a major point. It's an elongated accumulation phase, elongated crab market. And what generally always happens here, if we look at our weekly, we didn't quite hit our 200 weekly SMA just yet, but I would kind of fathom here that we may hit it right around, a couple more months here, maybe June, maybe July, 63K for a higher low.
Okay, higher, low. Okay,
Yes,
now I see where you're
that's
going.
what I
Okay.
think's gonna happen.
All right,
yeah.
so, and you think the timing here is late summer?
It could be quicker, June, anywhere between June and August.
All depending on how clarity plays out.
How quickly things
All right.
happen. And I think that your oil's gonna come down too. I think your yields are gonna come down too, and everything's gonna come down just a little bit. Just a
All
little
right.
bit.
Okay, so let's look at Ethereum from there because this is the other indicator right
Yep.
now. Ethereum is going to benefit greatly from if clarity goes through. It also could hit a little bit of a wall if we don't get clarity. So what would be your window for an entry right now on ETH?
I think that ETH, you're hitting a huge point, as you can see right here in your weekly, just a huge point. When we zoom out even more, this is just a major trend line for years. And I think you're going to retest it. If Bitcoin retests the mid to low 60s, this is right at, you guessed it, 2000, huge psychological area. And I think as long as you hold that, that's going to be pretty good right here. So in terms of ETH, next couple months, potentially bearish, but huge area at 2000. And then if you look at ETH versus Bitcoin, this is a huge area that we want to hold. My base case is that you will hold this area, these lows from February and March, and then you could jump from there, especially with clarity, with other good things happening, and then into the end of the year, jumping up.
All right, Evan, so when you look at the Bitcoin ETH chart right now,
Yep.
the rejection that we could see coming off of Bitcoin, we play this into, because I'm worried about clarity having a big impact on ETH. In the short term, because I know your long-term position on ETH.
Yeah.
Where would you play this right now? Bitcoin versus ETH for a summer buy?
Yeah, I think that, if I had to choose right now, I still would lean more towards ETH, but there's a minor concern. I think we're going to make a higher low here. If you look at ETH versus Bitcoin, as long as we hold these lows from February, March, I think there's a strong case to be made, but I would potentially bail on that if this does lose these lows.
Where would it need to lose for you to dump out of that?
I would say the lows. If you lose the lows from February, as you can see the lows right here from February, what's the day? February 15th. If you lose that would be concerning.
That would be it.
Yeah.
What about ETH price prediction end of year?
End of year. So when we look at the ETH chart, I think you're going to retest this. And then if Bitcoin goes up to, my price prediction for Bitcoin for end of year is around 90K. ETH, it could be 2,700, man. It could be by end of year, later this at 2,700, sometime in Q4.
That'd be up quite a bit. You look at it trading at 22 right now as we're recording. Opportunity right now. Where is the best opportunity for a portfolio? If we look at the stalwarts right now, the top 5, let's go with Solana, XRP, Ethereum, Bitcoin. I need to buy 3 of those.
Right now, I would say ETH would be the #1 most attractive. #2 is definitely XRP. I'm really been looking at XRP. XRP is hitting a big area against Bitcoin, as you can see right here. So if we can get some momentum, I would be really bullish on XRP. If you look at XRP versus ETH, we're trying to compare, what's better. It can bounce here. This is a big point. I may give it a week or two. I just want to see if you can hold this major area. I want a
alright.
little bit more momentum,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
XRP out of all those is very, very attractive right now.
Interesting.
I just
Okay.
want some candles to confirm first, though.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the key thing as we are here at the XRP of Vegas event, one of the things that continues to strike home with me is the strength of this community.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why we're seeing it hold up in these charts where we've seen a lot of crypto in general.
Oh,
We
yeah.
have some struggle points. So anyway, we're going to get into all that and more, guys. Make sure, of course, you guys know what to do if you're not following Evan Aldo over on YouTube. Make sure and hit Evan Aldo out there, and we will catch you guys later. Take care.
Yep.